On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And we're coming to you live from the courthouse, where we are drowning in a sea of gavels, baby.
Oh my God, the amount of gavels in your office right now is incredible, Spencer.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words, truly.
I know. Every time I go to the P.O. box, the post office is like, you have more.
She's back again. And every time you come up to my front door, I see you walking towards the little entryway and you're carrying a big box of packages. And we love it.
We love it. We love you guys.
At this point, it's camp. I'd like to see someone else in this country that owns the same amount of gavels that we have in my house right now.
Okay, well, we also own now a very special gavel that a listener sent us that I opened the other day. And can I read you it?
Please.
Okay. It says, Dear Spencer and Madison and all the fur babies. First, the mushy stuff. Love you guys. You both are hilarious, fabulous, crass, and bitchy. All characteristics I love in a friend.
Perfect.
I think we'd be besties, hiking in the LA canyons and shit. Just kidding. Let's be real. We'd be stuffing our faces at crossroads. Madison and I'd be drinking, and we'd all be gossiping and talking shit about everyone and everything. Oh, we love you.
Oh, you are our bestie.
Yes. She said, by the way, Vegas crossroads is shit.
Really?
10 out of 10 would not recommend the Vegas one.
Oh, shit. Good to know.
Yeah. She said, you can use my name, Angie. Yes, I'm the one who sent you the miniature coffin. Remember how amazing that was?
Angie, that's one of our favorites to this day.
To this day.
And hear that, Crossroads, Las Vegas? Angie
Said.
10 out of 10. It's a no from her,
It's
dog.
a no from her.
But Crossroads LA, we love you.
So good. So good. Anyway, since you guys have been so subtly hinting you wanted someone to send you a gavel, here you are. Now, I knew I couldn't send you just any ordinary gavel. This sucker played a part in a literal shit show of a historical event.
What?
Spencer? Let me just show you the gavel.
Okay. I've seen a lot of gavels at this point, so it's...
This one has been used. Look it's like fully...
There's like etching on it.
I know.
A vintage gavel?
Okay, well, let me tell you the story behind it. She says, I'll try to keep it short, but I'm not going to lie. It's a story. I'm not a historian, just a bitch with a pen and Google, so I might be getting some historical facts wrong. Don't come at me, historians. This gavel was used at what sounds like a bang-up party called the 1912 Republican National Convention. According to the Smithsonian, the convention wasn't actually Armageddon, but close to it. It was a brutal and personal bid for the Republican candidate between ex-best friends Theodore Roosevelt and William Taft. Lots of name calling, Roosevelt calling Taft a puzzle wit, and Taft calling Roosevelt a honeyfuggler. Whoa, guys, don't get crazy with those big burns. Cliff Notes version. Roosevelt wanted to keep fighting for the everyday person's fair shares in business practices, safe work environments, wages, etc. Taft wanted the exact opposite, saying that Roosevelt was dangerous because of his hold upon the less intelligent voters and discontented. What an asshole. Basically, mayhem ensued, fighting over delegate votes, everyone yelling some other weird insults, but Taft ended up winning the nomination. Roosevelt was pissed. He felt the voting was unfair, so he ran under his own Progressive Party, breaking away from the Republican Party. Then, after all of that craziness, both ended up losing to Democratic candidate Woodrow Wilson in the national election. Now, on to the gavel. It was used by the presiding officer of the convention. As you can see by the looks of it, shit got crazy up in there. It was presented to some dude named George E. Helt, a member of the American Consular Service, whatever that is. More important is who presented it. It was presented by the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, a Mr. Honorable Joseph Uncle Joe E. Cannon. This guy Cannon was a real pistol and according to Wikipedia is considered to be the most dominant speaker in U.S. history. In fact, the oldest congressional building built in 1908 was named after him, the Cannon House. Finally, I told you this was long, it ended up in the collection of either the brother or father of a man named Henry Knox. One article I read said he was a man history lost. He was a mortician and inventor, holding numerous patents on tanks, other war stuff, and components that would ironically be used mainly in Russian weaponry in the future. I'm pretty sure I got all of that correct, but again, not a historian. Anyway, I hope you enjoy and keep on banging. Your Geoff and cult babe, Angie. My dachshunds, Scarlet, Penelope, and Sienna say woof again to Hot Dog, Desi, and Taurus. P.S. I enclosed Uncle Joe Cannon's obituary, which I'm going to read later on. It never ceases to amaze me how extra the old-timey obituaries are. I've also enclosed the official documentation for the gavel.
Holy shit, Angie.
Kidding me? We have a piece of history.
I need to put it in a special acrylic box or something. This is incredible and really does. I ain't educated, I'll tell you that much. But I love history. I'm so excited for our Washington, D.C. stop on the tour because I love hearing about history. And that's so special and thoughtful and cool of you to think of us and go out of your way to do something like this. We have a piece of history.
I know. It's absolutely incredible. That's why I had to read it at the top of the show because I was so excited.
God, incredible. It's just cool. Just even holding it, knowing that it was this important. I mean, it was just the power of that.
The power of that. And then also a mortician and inventor owned it before.
Come on.
I mean, if that's not perfect, now two dumbasses own it.
Yeah, now we own it.
Well, girly, I almost got a case.
Oh, yeah?
Of cannibalism.
Excuse me?
I've been waiting to tell you this. Okay, so you know how we went to Home Goods recently?
Yeah.
And we bought a cheese grater. Remember I bought that cool one?
I can't handle this. Did you cheese grate your fucking hand? I'm gonna die.
I'm making nachos.
No.
A late night snack. I was like, I'm going to make some nachos with my new cheese grater. I got my block of cheese. I'm grating. And then I grate my hand. Peels the skin right off my hand.
Fuck that.
Okay. And I'm like, fuck, man. So I go about it, whatever. Put the plate in the microwave, eat my nachos. Then I'm thinking about it. Where did that piece of skin go? There was no skin to clean up.
I'm going to hope that it was just stuck in the cheese grater and got washed. I mean, I don't know if it's cannibalism, if it's self-cannibalism, I guess.
Yeah.
That's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
I hate it.
The nachos were delicious. Oh, and then today I come in through my garage to my back door and I try to open the back door and my key breaks off in the lock and the dogs are staring at me like, oh, mom's home. Oh, yeah, they're all excited. And I'm like, I can't get in. Can you guys open? And
you were mad because we were on the phone and you're like, well, my key just snapped off now. What do I do? And I said, throw yourself through the door, honey. But you were like, I'll call you back.
I had to because we live in an old home. And all of the old locks have been reinforced with new good ones. So there's no way I can fucking break in. And I'm not breaking a piece of glass. I'm not doing that. So I had to take the doorknob off. And it took me an hour. I was watching YouTube videos.
You know that happened with, our houses were built a similar year.
In the 20s, yeah.
My back door, I know it's weather related, but mine gets so jammed sometimes. And my deadbolt on my back door got stuck one night. And I turned it so hard trying to unlock it
Mhm.
that the deadbolt thing started just spinning around.
Were you locked outside?
No, I was inside, thank God, but I couldn't open the door at all. And so
Mhm.
I was trying to like kind of get it to unstick by hammering at the sides of it. And eventually I got so mad that I just took the hammer and I went bam, and I just knocked the whole fucking lock off. And then, the guy had to come fucking change the locks and everything. It was a nightmare,
A
but
nightmare. Well, I was standing outside and it has been so windy and rainy here and trees are fucking falling down all in the neighborhood. That huge one I sent you a picture of ripped up the whole sidewalk. There's trees in people's yards and
we're
it's
not
rainy.
meant for this.
Well, I'm like, so help me God, I get stuck out here in the rain.
Well, and funny enough, it started, I don't know if it hailed at your house today,
Probably.
but randomly, you know how I sent you a picture of the rainbow?
Mm-hmm.
Minutes after that, started dump hailing after it was like, and it was sunny and bright outside, but dump hailing. And I looked out my kitchen window in my truck. I was looking at the bed of it because it's all black and I could see all the little hail things and I was excited.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to see snow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love it.
Love it. Girl, you know what I don't love?
Some assholes.
Well, some.
So.
That's some. The first one says, am I the asshole for yelling at my aunt for what she said about my mom? Which already, I haven't fully read this one through, but already I'm like, you're not an asshole. And why is it always an aunt? It says background. I'm a 33-year-old female. My mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer 2 years back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She'd undergone several chemo sessions and had a successful surgery to remove her ovaries the same year. But by October of last year, her condition worsened and we discovered that her cancer had metastasized, affecting her stomach and intestines. So since November, she's had to go through a few more chemo sessions and targeted therapy and has been bedridden for the past 4 to 5 months. Now on to the situation. Since we got the news, the adults, mostly aunts and uncles of my extended family, as well as my family friends, have been feeling extremely hopeless about the situation, and they haven't hesitated to let us know. With me being the eldest of 3 siblings, they decided I'd be the most capable of handling bad news, and would keep reminding me about how bad her condition seems, or how they're worried she might never recover. One in particular, my aunt, my mom's half-sister, approximately 50 years old, has been particularly obsessed about this. Back in November, she texted me saying how she felt my mom's time was near and that we should prepare mentally. I was a bit miffed about it, but tried to keep my cool and chose not to respond. Over the next few months, several other folks have been pulling the same stunt over and over again. Last night, it was my late dad's drunk friend calling me up and expressing how hopeless he felt about my mom. Tonight, I finally lost my temper when the aunt from earlier called me up and started bringing up the topic almost immediately after, talking about how she felt like my mom's time is near.
Oh, God.
The minute I heard those words, I yelled at her to just stop constantly reminding us about it and to stop talking so negatively all the time. She seemed apologetic, but I couldn't even listen to her anymore and I hung up. I know yelling wasn't the best thing to do here, but all the pent-up rage, frustration, and sadness just seemed to boil over the minute she uttered those words. To clarify, it's not like my siblings and I are trying to be in denial. We know very well that her prognosis doesn't look very good, but we're trying to be hopeful while focusing on taking care of her. Constantly being reminded about the possibility of losing her isn't a pleasant experience. We know. It's not something we like to dwell on too much because it's the hope that keeps us going. And with me being pregnant and already stressed out about it, experienced some spotting and bleeding early into the pregnancy, had to be put on bed rest, the constant reminders do not help. As it is, I'm already an emotional wreck, crying 4 to 5 times a day because I miss my mom's cooking, or I'd imagine scenarios of her dying without ever seeing her grandchild because this would be her first. Sorry if this is a lengthy post or if it's all over the place, still very emotional about it all, but am I the asshole for yelling at my aunt for what she said about my mom?
No.
No, and you should have yelled at her more.
You need to set that boundary. Like, I do not want to hear that.
I feel like writing it, I'm almost like, how could anybody disagree with you? But I feel like maybe if you are feeling guilty about it, you just needed to put it out there to get response. I'll be there to cry with someone, laugh with someone. I'll be the first one to offer support to someone experiencing something like that. Reminding someone about their loved one's imminent death, it's like, what is your goal here? And I think she was right to be like, stop being so fucking negative all the time.
Yeah.
Because in general, I mean, negative people, you and I talk about this a lot. It's exhausting.
It's energy sucking.
Listen, there's times, there's circumstances, but
of course,
being negative in a time that is already just negative by nature is not helpful.
Well, it's like, okay, Captain Obvious. Like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not the asshole.
Not the asshole. This next one says, am I the asshole for expecting my husband to stay home after I was excluded from his friend's funeral?
Okay.
I haven't read this one either. I just picked them based on the titles. But I'm like, did we have another insane wife? My husband's friend Joe passed away after a long struggle with cancer. I was obviously devastated by this loss. We were good friends, but I'm admittedly not on good terms with his widow. I can't pinpoint what the exact issue is between us. All I can say is we don't get along. The biggest blow up I had with her was after I posted health updates about Joe on my personal social media account. I thought this was normal since we have lots of mutual friends, but she clearly had an issue with it. She called me names and then blocked me. Now the funeral is going to be in 2 days. I just found out I got excluded by her. My husband is still going, which I found unfair and quite devastating. I didn't want to miss Joe's funeral, but can't do anything about it now. I did tell my husband that I expect him to stay home and not go after I got excluded. He snapped and said what I was expecting was unfair and that whatever petty fight between me and Joe's widow is none of his concern. I told him that I'm his wife and he should stand by me, especially when I'm being treated like this, but he said it wasn't his problem. Now we're not speaking because of it. Some mutual friends are siding with me. Others think Joe's widow created the situation to begin with. Am I the asshole?
That's a tough one. First of all, I want to know more your intentions for posting his health updates.
Or if it was like information that wasn't ready to be shared, or maybe was not yours to share.
Right. That's the only thing where I'm like, I get that she's like, why are you going to go? But it's a funeral.
It's a funeral for his friend.
A lot of bets are off with a funeral.
I would say most bets are off with a funeral. Just because you're married to somebody doesn't mean that even if you're wrong, they have to be on your side all the time. That's not what I would want from a partner. I mean, I don't know.
I'm so nosy too. And I'm like sitting here trying to put myself in her position, like with Cisco. Like, let's say we had a mutual friend and I got into it with the wife and he still got invited. I would be a little bit like, well, fuck that. But I'd be like, go, because I want to know all the details.
But also,
bring me all the details back.
He was still friends with this guy. He had a good relationship with the guy. Why are you trying to stand in between them just going to say goodbye?
Yeah.
That feels selfish to me.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I get where she's coming from, and who knows? It could be the widow just being petty. But even if you know that, you have that knowledge. Don't worry about it, babe.
Yeah. The only pause I had was, I don't love the idea of people posting other people's health stuff.
I don't even think people should post when other people die unless the family like okays it first.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at our podcast.
Oops. Anyways, not the assholes. Anyways.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. I do have an article I want to read before we get into side bitches. Did you see this article? It was sent to us quite a bit about the mother's remains leaked out of the casket. Okay, so for those that don't know, this is from WSAZ.com. It's Channel 3 News. Woman claims mother's remains leaked out of casket in mausoleum. And this always makes me think about when we go to the mausoleum and walk around and we see those little stains.
Remember, I did a coffin spinner about it.
Yes, you covered this, and not
the botched
this story.
episode that we did. There was a guy who, like, his son or their dad or whatever was like leaking from their thing. He like sued this funeral home.
But remember, in that episode, you were talking about how getting a sealed coffin or not getting a sealed coffin really isn't that big of a deal. You
Well, funeral directors are saying that it's not.
It's not.
It's kind of a scam.
Okay, well, just listen to this. So this is in Houston, and this was published February 21st, 2023. So this year, it says a Texas woman has to rebury her mother 10 years after she died because she says she recently learned her mother's casket wasn't properly wrapped and the remains were leaking. Tina Evans and her family are suing Forest Park Lawndale, a southeast Houston funeral home and cemetery, along with a casket supplier. Evans says her mother's casket was never properly wrapped and has been leaking something the family has been struggling to deal with over the last year.
Fuck.
No one would ever imagine that it's her remains leaking, Evans said. Evans' mother died nearly 10 years ago. When her father died last year, the family visited their mausoleum. They say visible discoloration and stains were around their mother's final resting spot, and they made cemetery officials aware of the situation. They said it may be water or some oil leaking. What is she, a car?
Oh my God.
And then after they came in and they opened it up, they realized it was her remains
Fuck.
leaking.
Who opened it up?
The cemetery workers.
Okay.
The cemetery workers in protective suits moved her mother's remains to a temporary location, and a proper resolution is yet to be reached.
They hosed her off.
I would have maybe just let her leak to uproot her body again. And we remember one episode we talked about an episode we talked about how they would dry mummies out, you know? Maybe she's just drying out. I don't know.
Maybe she just needed some sun, honey.
Just leave her alone. No. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. She goes on to say, you're never supposed to bury your mother and your father and then unbury them again. I just want everyone to make sure when they bury their parents that it's properly wrapped.
Wrap it up, babe.
I think it's beyond the wrapping. I think she needs to be properly embalmed.
Yeah. What was it? What they use? Essential oils?
Oh, please, honey. I don't know what I would do, but I do know that I'm up first this week, which means you have a side bitch?
I sure do. And this is one of them. This is from an edition of the Paducah Sun-Democrat from August of 1934. And it says, Dayton socialite found dead in pool.
Ooh.
It says Dayton, Ohio, August 17th. Montgomery County authorities disclosed today that Mrs. William H. Neal, socially prominent matron, was found dead in the swimming pool of fashionable Northmore Country Club shortly before midnight last night. Coroner Maurice Cooper conducted an autopsy today, which he said clearly indicated that Mrs. Neal had drowned. He said that she was 28 years old and unusually attractive.
This is so 1930s, by the way. A body in a swimming pool
at the country club.
The country club feels very glamorous.
It gave me Gatsby. Unusually attractive. The woman's husband, an insurance company executive, told authorities that his wife was in the habit of wearing a diamond ring valued at $1,500 to $2,000.
This reminds me of an episode of Baywatch, I gotta tell you.
The ring was not on Mrs. Neal's finger when her body was found by night watchman Louise Shirai at the club. Sheriff Eugene Frick said Neal and his wife had been living apart for several days.
And he's an insurance company guy?
It's given me that's the death notice, but it's given me red flags. It's looking to me like a moida at the country club at midnight.
It is.
I want to do a little digging, see what else I can find. Because
my
drowned mysteriously, and she was only 28 years old. It seems fishy.
Okay. I was thinking...
Baywatch? What?
Okay, so I'm sorry. This is so random. But there was an episode of Baywatch that I have never gotten out of my head. A woman loses... It's like her earring or her ring.
Was this Kim Kardashian? Are you mixing it up? Was
No!
this like Kim Kardashian lost her diamond?
Are people dying, Kim? No. She loses her ring or her earring in a pool, and she can see it in the pool, and so she dives into the pool, but the draining stuff is the pool is on.
The pool cleaner's
on. She dives down, she sees her ring right at the drain, goes, gets her finger stuck in the drain because it's suction
and drowns.
I think David Hasselhoff
saves her,
but I thought of that. Maybe the ring was in the pool. Who knows?
I don't know if they even had fucking pool cleaners in the 1920s.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
What a great death notice.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to the Dayton Democrat or whatever. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will hear what had you spinning in your coffin, girly. We'll be right back. And we're back. What had you spinning in your coffin this week, girly?
Self-surgeries.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
All right. So we have talked briefly about trepanation, which I guess is a self-surgery. But I want to get into some real ass surgeries that people had to perform on themselves. And I will eventually get to self-surgeries due to like trapped limbs, but that's for another episode. Okay?
Okay.
Now, obviously, performing surgery on yourself is less than ideal.
Yeah, I would say.
But for many people I'm going to talk about, it was do or die. So first, let's start off with Governor Morris. Governor Morris was a founding father of the United States. His life story is actually wild. I won't even be able to like touch the surface. He actually wrote the preamble, the We the People.
I'm familiar.
Okay.
I've seen the fancy W.
When he was 14 years old, a kettle of boiling water fell on him and he had terrible burns all over the right side of his body. Like skin was coming. It was terrible. Okay. It messed him up for life.
Like your cheese grater incident.
I mean, yeah. My skin is tasty, apparently. When he was in his 20s, he injured his left leg, thus resulting in an amputation and then living his life with a wooden leg, a peg leg. But the fucked up part about that was that his normal doctor was out of town, so he had to go to a different doctor and they amputated his leg. Then his normal doctor gets home and is like, I could have saved your leg, man. Like, don't tell me that.
It's too late, okay?
Don't tell me that at that point, okay? Anyway, he performed a different kind of surgery on himself, one that actually took his life. But before that, this man, Governor Morris, when he was almost 60 years old, he marries his housekeeper. But his housekeeper is named Anne Carey Nancy Randolph. You could do a whole cult leader on her, Spencer. She was in her 30s, but she had a bad reputation because allegedly she and her brother-in-law had a baby together, and then they were accused of killing it. So he marries this broad. Anyway, he was 64 when he had a terrible urinary tract blockage. And this could have been a result from a lot of things. Like we know now, it could have been kidney stones. It could have been a tumor. It could have
Drink
been
some cranberry juice.
Could have been a lot of stuff, okay? Either way, it caused him horrendous pain. So he decided to take a piece of whalebone, stick it up his urethra,
Fuck.
move it around, and try to unblock the blockage in his urinary tract.
How they used to like treat STDs.
Oh, God.
They used to put like
scrape it?
Yeah, sometimes they would even put like, I guess, glass tubes down the urethra and break them while they were inside and pull them out to try and scrape out like infection.
Ooh, just kill me. Just kill me. Now, this wasn't his first penis surgery attempt. According to mentalfloss.com, quote, according to the fellow New York politician Rufus King, so I guess Rufus had some words about Governor Morris, this wasn't the first time Morris had fashioned a makeshift catheter for himself. Some years ago, he performed the same operation with a flexible piece of hickory. The success on this occasion probably emboldened him to repeat the experiment.
Oh, so he's into it. He's like a sounding, sounding.
I don't know. So he stuck the piece of whalebone up there, tried to get it out, tore a bunch of stuff, totally bad. It caused an infection and he died.
Fuck. Word to the wise, don't shove a whalebone down your urethra.
I know.
Never good.
This next story, Spencer, if you thought that was bad, how about a self-inflicted C-section?
What?
All right.
No, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Okay. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, though.
No, I'd say leave it in, let it cook a little longer, grow some hair or something.
No.
Grow teeth.
Okay, so Inez Ramirez Perez is a woman who performed the C-section on herself. So in the year 2000 is when this whole thing happened.
Oh my God, I'm picturing like 1893.
No, this was, 23 years ago, though. That's still a long time.
Shh.
So she was 40 years old at the time, and she lived in like a mountainy part of Mexico in a one-room cabin with her husband and her 6 children.
Fuck, that's... God.
I know. Her husband was out in town, and they didn't have a phone at the time, I guess, or they didn't have any service, but she started getting really bad labor pains, like 12 hours of just these horrendous pains. And she knew that she could not give birth vaginally because 2 years before she was pregnant with a baby girl and lost the baby girl due to an obstructed labor. So she knew, like, I can't just push this baby out. I'm going to have to get a C-section, but I have nobody to take me. The closest hospital was like 50 miles away, and the husband was nowhere to be found.
50 miles takes less than an hour.
I don't know. She's also got 6 kids. So she told reporters after, like when she was going through this, that her mindset was, if my baby was going to die, then I decided I would have to die too. But if he was going to grow up, I was going to see him grow up. So she performed a C-section on herself. Now, here are all the details from healthy.com. Quote, Perez took several swigs from a bottle of hard liquor to dull the pain and grabbed a knife with a 6-inch blade. She had no medical expertise, but she relied on her experience butchering animals to operate on herself. Instead of making the customary horizontal cut along the bikini line, she made 3 separate incisions in her abdomen, cutting vertically next to her belly button while squatting. Just do a mental. I'm like
picturing it.
Okay. Later, doctors would show that this technique kept her from damaging any of her internal organs and likely kept her alive. After about an hour of grueling work, she was able to pull the baby boy out of her own womb. The baby began breathing immediately, and Perez grabbed a pair of scissors to cut his umbilical cord before falling unconscious. After that, she finally regains consciousness. She tells her 8-year-old to go into town and find help. And she wraps her...
She's laying there like bleeding out?
Yes. And then she wraps up her belly and she just waits. And so the son comes back and is able to find help from somebody local. That person comes in, sews up all of her incision marks with just a regular needle and thread to at least try to stop the bleeding. And then she was finally taken to a hospital. I think it took her like 10 days to recover, and she made a full recovery, and the baby is healthy.
What the fuck? I would never. I could never.
Yeah, but if you're in that mindset, like, this is my baby.
Imagine the bummer if that kid grew up to be an asshole. It's like, I fucking cut you out of my
pulled you out of my own womb.
I just like, because it's not even like, yes, it's horrible, but like picturing like your fingers going into your body and stuff makes me so uncomfortable.
All right, so this one will make you uncomfortable then too. Evan O'Neill Kane, and this story takes place in the 1920s. So around this time in the 20s, general anesthesia was considered still pretty dangerous for surgery, like for basic surgeries, especially if someone had like a heart condition or a pre-existing condition. It's still, I know it's still scary, and it usually was not recommended. So Dr. Kane was like, well, maybe I could perform some surgeries with just local anesthetic instead of the full shebang. At the time, Dr. Kane was 60 years old, and he was the chief surgeon at Kane Summit Hospital in Pennsylvania. And he was also a railway surgeon at one time. And I didn't know what a railway surgeon was, but I looked it up. And I guess a railway surgeon was specialized in emergency surgery, often needing to perform like high trauma jobs with very basic equipment and not in the best, most sanitized areas.
So I'm already like, okay, this guy's got it better than the other ones. At least he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he had a very long career and he had performed thousands of surgeries. So if someone's going to do a surgery on themselves, I guess he's the most qualified. But at the time, in the 20s, he had a bad case of appendicitis. So he decided, okay, I'm going to prove that you can use local anesthetics instead of general anesthetics for certain surgeries, and I'm going to be the guinea pig. On February 15th, 1921, Dr. Kane performed an appendectomy on himself using only local anesthesia. I think he used Novocaine. The procedure from Mental Floss again. Quote, for his experiment, Kane decided to numb the area with Novocaine, sitting on the operating table, propped up by pillows and with a nurse holding his head forward that he might see. He calmly cut into his abdomen, carefully dissecting the tissues and closing the blood vessels as he worked his way in. The New York Times reported, locating the appendix, he pulled it up, cut it off, and bent the stump under. Finished with the dirty work, he let his assistants tie up the wound. When a reporter visited a few hours later, Kane declared he was feeling fine. Overall, he was pleased with the procedure. I now know exactly how the patient feels when being operated upon under local treatment, and that was one of the objects I had in mind when I determined to perform the operation myself.
Hats off.
I think that's pretty cool to be like, listen, I know how you're I literally know how you're feeling.
It's admirable.
It is.
It's also fucking insane though. I always wonder, I'm like, how do surgeons cut someone's like chest open? How do you like do that? And like you're in someone's chest and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna go make my Trader Joe's salad in the back room.
How are you just
separate it?
Doing a big load in your pants while doing like life-saving surgeries. That's what I want to know.
Probably most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, doesn't happen, but you never know.
You never know. I think it's more like the heightened, like I cannot step away because my finger is on this person's heart right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of it works.
I don't either, but that's not all with him. So in 1932, when he was 70 years old, he had something called an inguinal hernia, which is a hernia in your abdomen.
Oh, hernia.
A hernia. It was caused from a horse accident a few years prior, and using only local anesthetic, again, he conducted the self-surgery for almost 2 hours, which was way more intrusive than the appendectomy. It was like in his I can't even. There's pictures of it,
making
too.
me nauseous.
Yeah, there's pictures of it. 3 days later, after his self-surgery, he was fine and operating on others again. He died a few months after, but that wasn't related. But I also read about him that he would tattoo in Morse code, so it was like 3 lines, a K for Kane, on his incision sites.
Good for him. He sounds just like kind of a badass.
Okay, and this is badass. He wanted and like pushed really hard to tattoo mothers and new babies in the hospitals so that there wouldn't be any mix-ups.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so last one. This one is from 2021. A man named Mohab Foad. He was out paintballing one day with his son.
Uh-huh.
He fell and his left hand kind of broke his fall, but it took on all of his weight. And he was fine though. He got up and kept paintballing, but by the next day he was hurting and he knew something was wrong with his hand, especially because he is a hand surgeon. So he went and x-rayed his hand and discovered that he tore his ulnar collateral ligament. And I looked up diagrams of it. It's basically like your thumb.
Uh-huh.
So you can't like open up a bag. You can't do anything if your hand is like that.
Yeah.
He was a right-handed surgeon and he was like, it's basically essentially a strain. Like I don't need to operate or I don't need to have it operated on, but I should because obviously my hands are my livelihood. So he was going to do it himself. And then his wife was like, absolutely not. You need to have another doctor there to do it for you. So a fellow doctor, Dr. Koo, was going to perform his hand surgery for him.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Koo was on his way over there. He was like, okay, I'm going to numb myself, just local anesthetic. I'm going to numb my hand and get ready for my colleague to come and perform this surgery. Once his hand was numb, he started feeling like this is not my hand anymore. Like he felt so disconnected from it. So he could cut into it. He could drill into it. He could do all of this stuff. And the Dr. Koo that was doing the surgery was like, so how do you like to do this part of the surgery? And like they kind of did the surgery together.
Oh, wow.
One was drilling, one was suturing, and he made a full recovery.
Fuck.
Incredible.
I just don't know how you dissociate like that.
I know. I can't even watch it on TV.
There's certain things that I can't even imagine doing to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you go at a pimple too hard, sometimes I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God, I know.
Damn, that's fucking crazy.
I know. People are incredible.
There's certain things I've definitely thought of. Like, when I was having, like, really bad wisdom tooth pain, I was like, I could rip this fucking tooth out of my face myself.
Yeah.
If I was in the desert or something, like, nowhere near...
Yeah.
I would.
Oh, trust and believe. I went down a whole rabbit hole about self-castrations and I could not.
That I wouldn't do, but I know that's been done. I've talked about
Mm-hmm.
it too on Cult
Mm-hmm.
Leader before. It's gnarly.
There's something not right.
It ain't right. That's all we're gonna say. Should we take another quick break?
Yeah, let's do it. And then we'll hear what had you spinning. We'll be right back. And we're back. What had you spinning?
I am so excited for my coffin spinner today because it gives me a lot of hope.
Oh.
I think we all know at this point I am fascinated by brain death. We've talked about somatic support after brain death. We've talked about a few different instances involving it. It came up recently when we were talking about that one professor who suggested using wombs after brain death for surrogacy.
Yeah.
But I went down sort of a rabbit hole after reading about this scientific study that happened a few years ago, and I'm going to get into it. But I wanted to focus first just on brain death itself, because I know we've gotten into it in relation to other topics, but I don't know if we've really gone too deep into what's actually happening. So some of this might be a refresher based on things we've talked about before. But basically, brain death is death. We know that. Legally, you're dead. It's the same as if your heart were to stop. From lifesource.org, no brain function exists afterwards. Brain death results from swelling in the brain, where blood flow in the brain ceases, and without blood to oxygenate the cells, the tissues die. It's irreversible. And once the brain tissue dies, there's nothing that can be done to heal it. And it is fucked up, because when a person's heart is still beating and they're being kept alive on ventilators and whatnot, it's a really hard predicament to be in. What do I do at that point? Your brain performs many functions, including thought, movement, and all the neurological functions that allow the body to maintain blood pressure, heart rate, body temperature, hormones, breathing, etc. And when a person deteriorates to brain death, the body's entire system stops. You can't breathe. Your heart can't beat, your body can't function, and massive artificial measures must be started to maintain organ functions such as ventilated support. But this is obviously a temporary thing, like for organ donation and all of that. That's the only reason really you would keep somebody alive once they've experienced brain death. It's a very conservative diagnosis. They only diagnose someone or say that somebody has suffered brain death when they are like 100% sure, like there's no doubt about it. And it actually is a pretty rare event. I guess it occurs in 1 out of every 200 hospital deaths. Again, it's a really hard reality to face, and a position that nobody wants to find themselves in. Like, when do I pull the plug on my loved one?
Yeah.
In fact, some family members of loved ones who have experienced brain death have challenged the diagnosis in a court of law. In January of 2014, Time magazine released an article about this 13-year-old girl whose name was Jahi McMath, and she went in for a tonsillectomy. This 13-year-old girl just goes in to get her tonsils removed. It's a pretty standard procedure, you'd imagine. However, during her surgery, she went into cardiac arrest and was kept on a ventilator. Time says that according to laws in all 50 states in the U.S., brain dead patients are considered deceased. Her doctors and a judge in California, where the teen remains at the Children's Hospital in Oakland, concluded that McMath's brain is unlikely to recover, but her parents are fighting the hospital's plans to disconnect her from the life support equipment. This article's older, we'll give an update, but cases like McMath's are all the more challenging, it says, since it provides her family even a tiny sliver of hope that she could come back to life. The wide range of outcomes and the extent of unknowns about the brain complicates medical decision-making and undoubtedly adds to both financial and emotional costs. Could more patients showing some signs of brain activity be awakened by the right dose of a drug like Ambien at the right time? How do we know when to let go? When our brains are functioning properly, we can appreciate the fact that it is a complex and perplexing wonder. But when they're not, we tend to forget the intricacy with which the brains are built. That article, I think, initially came out in 2014. Her parents ended up keeping her, quote unquote, alive on a ventilator for the next 5 years. Because her family had taken them to court. It was like, she's still alive. We don't want to take her off the ventilator, but the doctor, the judge, everyone's like, well, she's not gonna live. Like it's just pretty impossible that she would. And so they removed her from the hospital and they took her to an undisclosed location where she continued to receive treatment and care. But after 5 years passed, she ended up dying as a result of complications associated with liver failure, according to the family's attorney.
See, I thought since you said this gave you hope that she was going to wake up.
Well, no, we're not at the hope part yet.
Oh, okay.
No, not yet. This actually brings me to this. Okay, so I read this article, just happened to find, wasn't even really trying to research anything specific, but it's from livescience.com, and it said, hours after pig's death, scientists restore brain cell activity. And this is what I wanted to talk about today for my coffin spinner. Basically, they did this experiment on pigs, and it showed that we may eventually get to a place where brain death isn't it. It could go beyond that. The Live Science article says that in a radical experiment that has some experts questioning what it means to be alive, scientists have restored brain circulation and some cell activity in pigs' brains hours after the animals died in a slaughterhouse.
Have you heard of that chicken that stayed
alive
18 months without his head? Insane.
Insane. So this is different than that a little bit. The results, though done in pigs and not humans, challenges the long-held view that after death, brain cells undergo sudden and irreversible damage. Instead, the findings show that the brain of a large mammal retains a previously underappreciated capacity for restoration of circulation and certain cellular activities hours after death. The main implication of this finding is that cell death in the brain occurs across a longer time window than we previously thought. The researchers stressed that they did not observe any kind of activity in the pig's brain that would be needed for normal brain function, like awareness or consciousness. They're like, this isn't a living brain, but it's a cellularly active brain. But this study could provide scientists with new ways of studying the brain, and it allowed them to examine functions in the entire intact brain in a way that hasn't been possible before. This, in turn, could help scientists better understand brain diseases or the effects of brain injury.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about the study a little bit. In this study, the researchers developed a system for studying post-mortem brains. The company's called BrainX, like FedEx, but BrainX.
Or SpaceX?
Yeah. It's a network of pumps that pipe a synthetic solution, a substitute for blood, into the brain's arteries at a normal body temperature. And the reason they did this on pigs is because a pig's brain is kind of similar to a human's brain.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Stop eating that. Using BrainX, the researchers studied 32 post-mortem pig brains that were obtained from a pork processing facility. The brains were placed in the BrainX system where it was pumping this artificial blood 4 hours after the pig's death, and they pumped this artificial blood through their brain for 6 hours. And during this time, the BrainX system not only preserved the brain cell structure and reduced cell death that would naturally be occurring after death, but it also restored some cellular activity. So basically, like, it's pretty confusing and it's pretty complex and it's very scientific. I know it doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, but essentially it's proving that if you were able to somehow implement this system into humans, if they were experiencing brain death, not only could they pause them where they're at, but they could reactivate some of the cellular activity.
Wow.
Or cellular activity. I don't know what Verizon.
Yes.
Verizon sponsored by BrainX. It says the researchers didn't see any signs of consciousness after doing this, nor was this the goal of the research. The synthetic blood solution actually would technically block neural activity, which would be needed for consciousness. And it says, what's more, if any type of organized electrical activity, the kind needed for consciousness, had appeared, the researchers were prepared to take action to stop that activity by using anesthesia and lowering brain temperature. Because the study lasted for only 6 hours, there is a lot more research needed to know whether Brain X can preserve brains for longer than this short time period. In addition, a lot of questions were made about how similar this model is to the brain environment. The system does not use real blood, and the brain is not bathed in fluid as it is inside the skull. But if the system could be used in future brain research, this could lead to a whole new way of studying the postmortem brain. Andrea Beckel-Michinder, a team lead at the National Institute of Health's Brain Initiative, which co-funded the research, said in a statement, "The new technology opens up opportunities to examine complex cell and circuit connections and functions that are lost when specimens are preserved in other ways." She also said that the work could stimulate research in ways to promote brain recovery after the loss of blood flow to the brain, such as during a heart attack. And I also read a few other articles that were put out about the same study, but they were saying for people that have suffered like a traumatic brain injury, they're looking now at this could potentially in the future lead them to being able to reverse some of the effects of this traumatic brain injury, which gives me hope. But I just thought it was like, I mean, I know it's that people weren't cutting open their stomachs, but but I don't know. When I read the article about the pigs, I'm just like, that's crazy to me because that seems like something that has the potential to be very life-changing for a lot of people because
no, absolutely.
Brain death, right?
Also, if you have a brain injury and you don't take care of it and rehab it, it can get worse. I mean, we see like with football players or what is that?
Like concussions?
Yes, but there's a word for it or a term.
Not familiar.
Okay. I'm sure it could help with all of that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's it. That's my science update.
Very hopeful.
All right. Should we move on to some obituaries?
Yes.
Who you got? Oh, well, you already told us who you got.
Yes, I have. Joe Cannon. I don't know where it's from. It was sent to us.
From Angie?
From Angie. It says, Joe Cannon dies in Danville at 90, 46 years in-house. Ex-speaker's long and colorful career ends in a peaceful sleep. Ruled with an iron hand. Always a hard fighter, his rugged honesty gained him a host of admirers. Foe of government waste, Coolidge and others laud his public services. Funeral probably on Tuesday.
Who knows? Maybe.
Danville, Illinois, November 12th. The fiery spirit of Joseph Gurney Cannon, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, dimmed to an ember by the weight of 90 years, was quenched today by death. In the home from which he went to Congress 53 years ago, and amid walls laden with the trophies of his public life, the patriarch died at high noon in the midst of a deep sleep. Weakening of the heart muscles caused his death, but the general depredations of old age had warned his family several months ago that the end was near. He told comrades in the National House when he quit its halls in 1922 that he was going home to die, home to the rambling brown brick mansion which he built 65 years ago for his bride, who preceded him to the grave. After his retirement from Congress, he continued his daily walks downtown beneath the elms of Vermillion Street, and the most cartooned face in America was daily visible behind the brown curtains of the Second National Bank, of which he was one of the founders. Several months ago, he was forced to forego his walks, and he turned to a daily motor outing, which he continued until a few weeks ago. His mind faded with his body, and he could recall, but dimly, after his 90th birthday last May, the scenes with which his long congressional service was vivid. Waning memory, however, could not keep him inactive, and his last public act 4 months ago was to turn the sod for a new church for the St. James Methodist Episcopal congregation. Born a Quaker, Mr. Cannon joined the Methodist Church after leaving Congress, and each Sunday until recent weeks found him in the pew his wife has occupied throughout her lifetime in Danville. An air of sadness settled over the city as news of his death spread. Danville had known for months that its foremost citizen had not long to live, and it had filled with honor his declining days. His 90th birthday was made a civic holiday, and he was a guest of the Kiwanis Club, of which he was a member, at a birthday party. He did not speak, but he stood behind the mammoth birthday cake, tilted his picturesque hat at the accustomed Angie, and smiled genially above his chin, whiskers, while photographers made a record of the occasion. He even inserted a cigar between his teeth to make complete the resemblance to the canon of old. Although he had abandoned smoking to a large extent in his later years and had substituted mild cigars for the stogies, which were recognized throughout the land as part of the canon picture. On the stroke of 12 noon, Uncle Joe peacefully breathed his last. He simply slept away. Then it says unconscious for 10 hours. Since about 2 a.m., it had been apparent that the end was near. Dr. C.E. Wilkinson, his personal physician, was called at that hour because Mr. Cannon was having difficulty in swallowing. This condition was relieved temporarily. Later in the morning, the physician spent a half hour at the patient's bedside. At that time, he was sleeping peacefully. Between 10 and 11 o'clock, he became restless, then settled again into a calm sleep. He had been in a state of coma for about 10 hours before the end. Death was due, Dr. Wilson said, to myocardial degeneration or a weakening of the heart muscles. A cold contracted in July gave Mr. Cannon much worry, and it was then that he took to motoring instead of walking. The first indication that his condition was grave was when his daughter, Helen, was summoned home from Europe hurriedly in September. He declined several invitations.
Gotta love a classic obituary. Got all the details in there.
All the details. So that was the guy who owned the gavel.
And now it's ours. And you can't take it back.
Mr. Cannon.
God, it's interesting. It's interesting to have something from
I know.
someone whose obituary we're reading.
I know.
My obituary is for a man named Ronald Lee Herrick. We like this guy. He donated a kidney to his dying twin brother 56 years ago on what was recognized as the world's first successful organ transplant.
Wow.
He died of complications following heart surgery at the age of 79. Herrick died Monday at the Augusta Rehabilitation Center in Augusta, said his wife Cynthia. He had been in deteriorating health since his October surgery, she said. I believe he passed away in 2010. Herrick gave a kidney to his twin brother Richard at what is now Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. The 5.5-hour operation on December 23rd of 1954 kept his brother alive for 8 years and was the first successful organ transplant, according to the United Network for Organ Sharing. Lead surgeon Dr. Joseph Murray went on to win a Nobel Prize. The operation proved that transplants were possible and led to thousands of other successful kidney transplants and ultimately the transplant of other organs. Doctors had tried a handful of transplants worldwide without success up to that point, said Murray, who went on to perform another 18 transplants between identical twins. Which is crazy to think because they were probably like, oh, they have the same body, like they share the same DNA or whatever.
Yeah.
And now there's obviously other ways of matching people, but they're probably like, oh, twins is who we should try this on. Yeah. The operation rejuvenated the whole field of transplantation, Murray, 91, told the Associated Press. There were other people studying transplants in 4 or 5 different countries, but the fact that it worked so well with the identical twins was a tremendous stimulus. Herrick was raised on a family farm in Rutland, Massachusetts, where he graduated high school and later served in the U.S. Army. At 23, Herrick was glad to give up a kidney if it would help his brother, who was dying from chronic nephritis, an inflammation of the kidneys. Murray thought the odds of a transplanted organ being accepted would be enhanced since they were identical twins. Before the operation, many people opposed the idea of transplanting a body organ, equating it with desecration of a body. Others felt like it was unethical to operate on healthy humans, and respected editors of medical journals wrote that it was contrary to the Hippocratic Oath's vow never to do harm to anyone. But Herrick never wavered, and the operation went on as planned with no complications. Richard Herrick met his future wife Claire in the recovery room where she was a nursing supervisor. He was the only one in the world who could save his brother's life, so he was going to do it, said Cynthia Herrick. There was no question about it. Ronald and Cynthia married in 1959, and they moved to Maine in 1968, where he taught math for 37 years in both Massachusetts and Maine. He also raised cows and cut hay for for decades on a small farm he bought in Mount Vernon. In 1997, he and his wife sold their farm and moved to a house in Belgrade. Herrick rarely mentioned the operation to people he knew, but he was known in the medical world for his pioneering role. He and Murray marked the 50th anniversary of the operation at the National Kidney Foundation's 2004 U.S. Transplant Games in Minnesota. Herrick and Murray together lit the flame to kick off the games, an Olympic-style event for athletes who have received organ transplants. He was a humble man. You got the sense that he didn't think he'd done anything extraordinary, but that he had done what a brother would do. He wasn't too impressed with himself, but he was impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was great. Well,
We have spun in our coffins.
we have bitched our obituaries.
And that means it's time for some dumb
Ah.
criminals.
Woo! Okay. We have been sent this one quite a bit because it has to do with a gavel.
Oh my God.
From jonathanturley.org. Ohio man arrested for stealing gavel of judge from courtroom.
What?
This was 12 years ago. Lorain magistrate Daniel Cook may have to rescue himself from a recent theft case. It appears that two citizens who came before him decided to leave with their own measure of justice. They stole Cook's gavel. The alleged gavel-grabber is Spencer Henry
Gavel-grabber.
and Madison Reyes. Is Christopher Collins, 47, who was promptly arrested in the world's most moronic act. After Cook could not find his gavel in court, security watched the security tape and saw a man stealing the gavel, a man accompanying a litigant who was seeking the return of his license. Police say that they are interrogating him on the whereabouts of the gavel. Collins reportedly admitted to the crime. That is a shame, since the defense attorney could have negotiated a plea in return for the release of the gavel. I believe I saw something like this in Dirty Harry. What is most interesting is that he described his culprit as a male he barely knows, that he met in court and left the gavel in the man's vehicle. That would establish that Collins consistently shows the same judgment in and out of court. You don't gotta steal any. We've got a ton over here.
Should have just called us. Listen, if anyone needs a gavel.
I know.
If you or someone you know is a judge and you are in need of a gavel, you know who to reach out to. Okay, well, I have this wild story. An argument over a Kelly Clarkson TV show turned violent on Monday afternoon when a Florida couple allegedly exchanged punches, according to police.
Oh my
Who
God.
busted the duo for domestic battery. According to arrest affidavits, Linda Donahauer, 61, and Ronald Meyer, 55, were in their Clearwater residence late Monday afternoon when they engaged in a verbal argument about the Kelly Clarkson show. Clarkson, who won the first season of American Idol, hosts the Kelly Clarkson Show, a weekday talk show on NBC. The 37-year-old singer's hour-long program debuted in September.
Good to know.
Investigators charged that the quarrel between Donahauer and Meyer turned physical when an annoyed Donahauer punched Meyer in the shoulder to get him to be quiet while they were watching the show. Meyer allegedly responded by jumping on Donahauer and striking her in the face.
Oh my God. Oliver Kelly?
Fucking, I was trying to think of a Kelly Clarkson song that I can incorporate. Cops report that the couple have been in a romantic relationship for 14 years and that they were both intoxicated, causing inconsistencies in their statements. They were both taken into custody for a mutual battery.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
God, I just fucking love that there was this couple sitting there and that they got in a fight during Kelly Clarkson's daytime talk show. And I also love that it became such a part of this story. Like,
I was just going to say, I'm like, that they mentioned
they were trying to get
it.
clicks.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to sell papers.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But it was in there, so I had to read it.
Oh my God, I love it.
All right. Well, should we open some P.O. Box goodies?
Yes.
You're never going to believe this.
What is it?
This is a gavel.
Oh my God.
Who's this one from? It says nothing. This is a mystery gavel.
Okay.
Let's hear it. Let's test out. It's from Amazon, so I don't know who sent this.
Well, thank you, whoever you are. Beautiful. That's a beautiful base.
Thank you. I've heard that before.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous base.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous base on the base.
Well, let's see what I have here.
Thank you, anonymous sender.
Can you believe this? Hold on. Look at this.
What is that apparatus?
It's a gavel, I think.
What? Who's that one from?
It says, Spencer and Madison, I love you both so much, and I can't wait to see you in Chicago soon.
Wee.
I got the VIP pass, so I can't wait to meet you two. Love, Colt Babe and Geoff. Crystal, thank you so much.
Crystal, thank you for the gavel.
Thank you for the gavel, girly.
We are loving all the gavels. We've got so many gavels. Well, I think that's it for the week. Oh, check out our Patreon. We got some more stuff up there. Patreon.com/cultleader. You can also follow along on Instagram and Twitter at obituary pod.
On TikTok at obituary podcast. You can write
we
to
have
us.
Nothing. We had a strong run at first.
You can write to us at obitpod@gmail.com.
You can even handwrite to us. P.O. Box 18149, Long Beach, California, 90807.
And I think that's it.
I think that's it. We're still on the road. If you want to get tickets to come see us live, visit obituarypodcast.com. And that's about it for the week. We'll see you next week with some more coffin spinners
Obituaries
and dumb
as
criminals.